Hey everyone, Patrick from Nolan Riding here. Welcome back to our how-to series. In this video, we're going to be working through climbing technique. In our videos, we've worked a lot on how to descend, rolls, and just in general how to have a greater range of motion while going down. But you know what's important, you got to earn your turns, and what goes up must come down. So with that in mind, how can we climb with more ease and efficiency? And that's what this video is all about. Alright, this how-to is going to come in two parts. Part one, in the saddle climbing. Part two, out of the saddle climbing. So in this first video, we're going to show you the proper technique to have ease and efficiency as you climb up the hill. We're also going to show you some of the common things that I encounter a lot as a skills coach. Just ways riders make their lives more difficult and make climbing harder than it needs to be. So, let's get into it. Climbing. Why bother spending time improving a skill that seems kind of basic? Well, the main reason is that when you get to the top of the hill, if you've climbed efficiently, you're going to have more energy, stamina, and strength to enjoy your descending with, right? So if you're taxing yourself and working too hard climbing, it just robs you of all the goods that you need to descend. So that's a big part of why it's important to work on your climbing skills. And honestly, with a little bit of tweaking of body position and gear choice, we can make some big improvements in how people overall climb. How of seated climbing is going to be body position first and foremost. We need to be sitting on the saddle and actually dropping our chest or our torso towards our stem a little bit. And the reason why we do this is because on an incline, we need to spread weight over both wheels. Otherwise, we have our front end starting to wander on us as we're climbing and you lose traction and you can't steer. So a body position is going to be a nice, relaxed sit with a slight hinge at the hips as you drop your chest towards your stem. When we descend in ready position, we've talked about having our arms out. We're actually going to experiment while we climb with tucking our elbows in, dropping our wrists, and really seeing how much we can relax our arms and our fingers to conserve the most energy. So the second thing that you need to consider when you're climbing up hills is your gear choice. If you're in too hard of a gear, you're going to be mashing and lose momentum, and it's really hard on your drivetrain. If you're in too easy of a gear, often you'll find that you're just spinning out, or the hill is taking you so long to climb that you're fatiguing a lot. So we want to find that sweet spot of not too hard, not too easy, just right, while keeping a cadence that feels rhythmic and sustainable. Okay, here I come up the hill. Notice how I'm dropping my chest towards my handlebars. My arms are relaxed. I'm looking ahead, keeping a nice smooth cadence. Let's see if you can recognize yourself in these three common mistakes that I see with riders who are sometimes new to the sport, but also a lot of veterans are still making these same mistakes. So, number one, body position. If you're riding with a really static body position and you don't have the ability to shift weight on your bike while you're climbing, chances are at some point you're going to lose your front wheels. It's going to wander around or come up in the air. Number two, gear choice. Trying to climb in too hard of a gear or trying to climb in too easy of a gear. Number three is definitely going to be line choice. So people just putting themselves in the loose or in the baby heads as opposed to trying to pick a nice smooth line through the trail. So we've covered body position for climbing, we've covered gear choice and cadence, and then we've also looked at line choice. And all three of those things together can help make a hill much easier to climb. What we really want to also recognize is that yes, your strength and your fitness can be limiting factors, but if you use good technique and you work on efficiency, your climbs will become easier and easier as you practice. Briefly, let's just talk about when you should be in the saddle climbing. I stay in the saddle anytime the trail is not overly demanding, not super technical. It is going to be the most efficient climbing position. So on a long fire road climb, on meandering single track where there's not a lot of roots and rocks, you can definitely spend a lot of time in the saddle. Part two is going to cover when to get out of the saddle, and so that's coming up next.